I just finished what I thought was recording episode 2, and I went to check the audio, and what do you know? I didn't turn on the microphones. This microphone right here was not on. It's on now, which we can check again. On. Man, it's kind of funny. It's a funny little hiccup. And so here we are again. We're going to expand on the first version that you won't be able to even hear, or I can't even hear. They're just words that are floating out in the universe now, just dancing around. So here we are. And thinking about what happens when we stop trying to get something from every experience. That was the question that I had brought up at the end of the episode thought experiment from last week. And that question led me to the word liminal. Liminal can be defined as relating to a transitional or transformative state, the space between no longer and not yet. And that word, I think, is directly related to what happens when we stop trying to get something from every experience. For me personally, what happens when I stop trying to get something from every experience? I find that there are more spaces where I'm in a liminal state versus not. And the way I think about a liminal state is when we start thinking about time, right? When I start thinking about time, I think about time as a line that moves across the horizon. So that's time. Time, it's moving at the same pace across this horizon. Okay, when I think about a liminal state, I think about that line that moves across the horizon, and then there's a pocket within there. And inside that pocket is a liminal state. It's a state of flow. It's a state, for me, where time holds like no value. Not even like no value. Time holds no value. It ceases to exist. I'm in a liminal state where the only acknowledgement is purely what's in front of me, where I'm at, what's happening. Time holds no value. And as I began to write about the word liminal and think about it and explore it, I came back to a word that I had been gnawing on for the last month or so, and that word or concept is duality. To me, duality it's the yin and yang of anything, of decisions, of events, whatever it may be. It's hot and cold, inside or outside, up or down, light or dark. And duality, in order to know duality, we have to know one side in order to know the other. In order to know what light is, I have to know what darkness is. In order to know what is good, I have to know what is bad. And then I start to think about, or a word that I had heard more recently is non-duality. And that for me has been a slippery slope to think about, because the more that I think about a definition of non-duality, the more it moves into duality, the more it moves into this or that, where duality is just nothingness. It's purely living in the body rather than the mind. And you see, that's the slippery slope right there, is like even trying to explain it enters a state of duality. So I think for me, it's like non-duality is just non-duality. That's it. That you can't go any deeper than that. To go any deeper than that Now we're back to duality, duality is in the mind, and it's just how we categorize things, good or bad. It's how we make decisions. It's how we move forward. Like there has to be bad to know good, and there has to be good to know bad. So as I digest those first few minutes, maybe we just take a breath and inhale. Open mouth, exhale. One more of those sounds pretty nice. Inhale. Exhale. And it's fun to think about those things without ever needing to ever be right or wrong. Like there's no end to the idea. It's more just that I got a shovel and I'm digging and I don't know where it's going to go, but I enjoy the process of just scooping one shovel of dirt and then moving out of the way. And if I want to shovel another one, I will. If I want to just stop, I will. I can do that too. If I'm just like, this is enough education rabbit hole for the day, then okay, then I'll just go do whatever else. Cook, walk, read, watch YouTube, whatever it may be. But having the awareness to recognize, like, that's enough. Okay, that's good, is what's fun. But yeah, all three of those things I find are very connected. What happens when I stop trying to get something from every experience? The answer for me is that I reach more liminal states more often and for longer periods. I'm not looking for them by any means because I'm not trying to get something from the experience. I just keep going, just keep shoveling some dirt. And that leads me to the idea of duality versus non-duality. It's the expression chop wood, carry water before enlightenment, then after enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. We just continue to do the things that I enjoy, and just without any expectation of where it's going to be, where it's going to end up. And all three things of those are connected. And as I tie that into performance, let's first think about when you enter a liminal state, a state of flow. When I enter it, when you enter it, I hope that you're able to think about times where you've been in those flow states. And then it comes down to, okay, I'm in this flow state. I'm in this liminal state. Okay, do I acknowledge it? Do I acknowledge this state? And then am I able to just acknowledge it and keep moving with an understanding that, like, hey, this is going to end at some point. I don't know when, but this is cool right now and awesome. Okay, keep going. Or do you acknowledge it? Do I acknowledge that I'm in this state? And then try to ignore the acknowledgement because I'm fearful that it will end. And so as I tie that back into performance, so I can think about baseball. And I think about times where I've been in a liminal state or playing at an extremely high level. And I think about moments where I have acknowledged it, been like, damn, this is really awesome right now. And that's the depth of it. I just keep moving. And then there's times where I've been in those states and I'm in this liminal state. I'm in this state of flow. I'm playing at an extremely high level. And I think, ooh, I'm playing it. I'm crushing it right now. I hope this doesn't end. And you know what tends to happen after that thought is it ends. And I think for me that happens because it's done so out of fear. It's done so out of fear that this will end, so now I'm trying to stop it from ending. I'm trying to stop the inevitable. It's gonna end. And as I think about times in my life where I've done either or, you know, I think about the Junior College World Series where we won the national championship and I won the MVP of the tournament, defensive player of the tournament, hitter of the tournament. I think about 2021, Indy Bowl where I won Rookie of the Year and we won the championship. And I think about Australia most recently where all three of those times I was in extended flow states or just flow states in general. And all three of those times, I acknowledged that I was in them, but I was never worried about it ever ending. I never thought like, I hope it never ends. It was more just like, this is the state I'm in. This is awesome. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Then I think about times where I've been playing at levels that are similar to those experiences before, but they've ended much quicker, more abruptly, and with sharper like fall offs. And when I think about all those, especially during my affiliated career, was start playing really well and then wonder, okay, when is this going to end? I hope it never ends. Oof. Man, what a box I'm putting myself in at that point. Because I'm denying the inevitable. It's gonna end. And I think about the players that I've played with at the highest levels who play at the high, who like are the most of the elite, and everyone operates within a range of their own. We all have a range of high and a range of low. Okay, if person A's range is down here, person B's range is up higher. So they're like baseline median level that they're operating at is higher. And then it's a matter of how do I shrink the range between my highs and lows? Like, yeah, I want my high to be the highest high, but I also want my low to be the highest low. And those are just what I've found that elite performers do, and they just stay in those liminal states, those flow states, because they're never worried about it ending, and they just keep going. It's so natural. It's such a natural way to move because it's in the body rather than the mind. The mind wonders, when is this going to end? I hope it never ends. The body is just like, oh, it's happening right now. This is cool. Keep going. That's I think a way of duality to look at both of those things. Operating in that state of flow and then just with zero worry about when it's going to end. And it's fun for me to look back on both of those, the times where I've acknowledged it and just kept going, and the times where I've acknowledged it out of fear. And it's fun to look back at those and then just notice what happened afterwards, the state that I was in, its ability to keep going. And it's just fun because that's, for me, that's where like the growth comes from is just looking back on it, on observing it. I can't change it. So then I just grow from it and continue to try to move forward. And it really circles around that idea of, okay, optimal performance. When I'm in flow, do I acknowledge the flow internally and just go to the depth of, this is really awesome. Okay, keep going. Or other side of the coin, do I acknowledge it out of fear and then choose to ignore it out of fear? Both of those within that box, both of those have awareness. There's awareness within both of those. There's awareness that I notice it and I choose to keep going, and there's awareness that I notice it and try to deny the inevitable. So if awareness resides in both of those options, for me, it seems like optimal performance for longer durations at a higher level with a smaller range is in the realm of acknowledging, this is awesome. Okay, I'll keep going. And then doing that. So it's like, how do we build that awareness? That's where the breath comes in, and creating space for yourself. Take a quick breath. Inhale. Just exhale. Little body scan, maybe from the feet to the ankles, shins, calves, knees, thighs, hamstrings, hips, lower back, upper back, chest, stomach, into the shoulders and the arms, the hands, neck, top of the head, forehead, jaw. Just noticing where we're holding tension and allowing it to release. Sitting in this space for a moment. Very nice. Fun. Those are fun ideas to continue to explore. And as we move into a different thought, which was what I brought up last week, is thinking about why it feels so much different here when buildings are built at a lower height. Like I'm staring at a building right now across the park that is 4 stories high. And that's about as tall as they come here. It's like 4, 5, 6 stories. And it's the density is so much lower. When I think about cities that are like built super high, it's like I'm not in a flow with the city or the space itself. It's like absorbing me. You know, Chicago, New York, wherever, Seattle. Buildings are just built so high that it's like absorbing me. I'm not interacting with the city itself. And here, you know, there's a good population, and I think like 200,000 people in the city, and it's much more interactive because it's shrunk down. It's smaller, and it's just I brought that up last week, and it's been on my mind, like, what is the difference that I feel? And the difference I think I feel, and anytime we're trying to describe a feeling is difficult because they reside in a place where like words very often can't go to. But for me, it's just a lower density. It's a lower density point. But that was just a quick observation. I don't know, maybe you can think about a time where like you've been in low density. Where do those spaces of low density reside for you? Nature, for sure. But circling back to the optimal performance side of things, that's where I think that what I've noticed from guided breathwork, meditation, visualizations that come in the form of remote, so via headphone, is a lot of verbal outside mental stimulation. So whether it's a lot of words or the sounds are a lot that are being brought through the headphones. And so if the goal for my business, Ground Up Fundamentals, is optimal performance, we're chasing optimal performance on the journey of it. How can I provide recordings that allow an individual to create their own space? And what I found, what I've been very diligent about, is trying to provide as much space within the audio as possible for the individual to create it themselves. what I've found in the past is just a lot of words and a lot of stimulation. And when that happens, it's very hard for me as the user to create my own space. I very much feel like I'm being guided down a narrow hallway. When for me, the most enjoyable experiences is like, okay, I'm going bowling, right? I'm going to sit down and create some space for myself. We'll use the analogy of bowling, okay? Do I want to put the bumpers up or keep them down? If I want to put the bumpers up, I'm going to put these headphones in and I'm going to create some type of of boundary points or guidance for this experience. If I don't, which is cool too, I'm just going to leave the bumpers down, no headphones, and I'm just going to let it go wherever. We think of the mind being the ball in this analogy. I'm going to let the ball go wherever and gently guide it back to my own lane. Now, for me, in trying to help others create space for themselves, is just you're choosing to put the bumpers up. And we don't want to create this narrow hallway where it's a lot of that's what I found is just a lot of stimulation. It's a lot of words, analogies, instruction. And the fun part about meditation or breath work or visualization or whatever it may be is like you, the person interacting with it or taking part in it, you're just creating your own space. And if you're choosing to put the bumpers up, throw these headphones in, my role as the creator of stimulus is just to gently allow you to create as much space as possible. And tying it back, when you're able to create that space, create that awareness through continual practice, when the practice is fun, then we're able to reach those liminal states or those flow states and have the space to acknowledge and keep going. Oh, this is awesome right now. I'm going to keep going. And I think when I haven't had that space, that's where the awareness is still there. And it's either I don't know how I even got there, or I'm going to acknowledge it and then I'm going to try to delay the inevitable, which is the end, out of fear because I don't have enough space. I don't trust myself enough to stop trying to get something from the experience. I'm just going to let it be. Oh, I'm in this flow state's cool. All right, I'm going to keep it going. Oh, this flow state's cool. All right, that's it. Keep going. Not maybe the phrase right there, I'm going to keep it going, isn't aligned with it. Maybe it's just, oh, I'm in this state of flow. Nice. That's all it is. So my goal through Ground Up Fundamentals is helping others create awareness, be able to create their own space. And as the creator of stimulus within, the headphones, it's like, I want to give the person as much space as possible. We want to let the mind bounce wherever, and then we just gently guide it back. Bounce wherever, gently come back to the breath. So that's what I've done with the new platform that I'm using, School, is my goal is to build a community of people who are chasing optimal performance. And it's fun to do that because there's no right, there's no wrong, and there's no end. We're just digging to dig because digging's fun. And School, I have the ability to update the modules, to put new recordings in there, to open discussions up. Users are able to communicate with one another. It's just a very safe, directed space, and it's super cool. And that's the app that I've started using now. And within that are all of the guided breath work visualizations, meditations, all those things. And as I've thought about it more, it's like I want to give the interactor as much space as possible. So today, for instance, I recorded a driving meditation where we started with a little light breath work, and then it's just creating awareness as you're driving. It's to be used while you're driving. But I do not. My goal is never to talk. I want to talk as little throughout it as possible. Just gently help create some bumpers for the awareness as we move down the alley. The ball's always going to get to the pins at some point. Maybe it bounces a couple times. Maybe it just stays right down the center. But it always gets to the end of that alleyway. And that's the differentiating factor, quite honestly, between the recordings that I'm putting out and everything that I've tried elsewhere, is the amount of space that I'm working to provide for the person interacting with the stimulus that I'm providing, which is, the audio that goes in your ears. And I'm interested, maybe, it'd be cool to hear from people who have tried the recordings that I've put out, like how have you interacted with it, and how does it make you feel? Because that's all that matters. How does it make you feel? It's so subjective, which is so fun. So as we enter the latter portion of this thought experiment, maybe we take one more breath together and inhale. Exhale. I'll acknowledge a quick growth on my part, which is episode 1. I thought, okay, I'm going to put out, I have these little just like 1, 2, 3, 4 other things maybe I want to mention. I had it on an iPad, and it was like overstimulating, oddly enough, on the iPad. And now I wrote it in a notebook, and it feels much more grounded. It feels like it's easier to go along with the flow of what I'm trying to talk about. Obviously, this is the second take because, I didn't turn the I didn't turn the mics on the first take, which is fine. It's all good. I got nowhere to be except right here doing this. It's the most important thing I could be doing right now. And it's fun when you acknowledge that. It could be whatever you're doing. Hopefully listening to this on your end is the most important thing you could be doing right now. Taking some time to yourself to just explore thoughts. And so the growth is that episode 2 notebook, a lot easier to, work down the line. Have a little cohesion between the thoughts, and that's super fun. It's been super fun. I'm going to keep having fun. Just keep doing it, and that's about it. Just keep doing it. Because doing it's fun. So, to tie it all up, a nice little bow, is the question that I will leave you with for the next week, which is, where is the most beautiful place you've been and why? Where is the most beautiful place that you've been to and why? And as you sit with that concludes this episode of The Thought Experiment.